Hello and welcome to Arts and Entertainment. I'm Deborah Gilbert, your host, and as always, it's so great to have you. Thank you for tuning in, and as always, I hope you enjoy the show. Well, I have the pleasure of having somebody who hasn't been here for a while, but she has decided to come back. I'm thrilled about it. It's Rabbi Donna Berman, PhD. She's the Executive Director of the Charter Oak Cultural Center, which is based in Hartford, Connecticut, and I know that you'll enjoy getting to know her as well as Charter Oak Cultural Center. What is that? And I'd love to go there. So I'm thrilled to highlight that today. And Donna, welcome to the show. So thrilled you're back with us.
Oh, thank you so much, Deborah. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, I like to start the program, which you may or may not remember, of introducing the guests to the viewer. So why don't you take some time and let us get to know you? Introduce yourself.
Well, I'm Rabbi Donna Berman. I have been the Executive Director of the Charter Oak Cultural Center for 25 years. And we are a multicultural arts center in Hartford, as you said, and we do the work of social justice through the arts. So we have a school for over 1,000 kids. It's completely free for Hartford kids to learn about the arts. And we have 3 programs for the homeless community that provide educational and employment opportunities for them. And we have a performance space, and we do all kinds of multicultural professional performances and arts events from which no one has ever turned away for lack of funds, because we believe the arts are a human right, not a luxury.
And
so it's been a great career.
People may or may not have heard of Charter Oak Cultural Center. Tell us what that name means and what you're all about. Is there a building, land? Tell us what that's all about.
Well, we are housed in the first synagogue built in Connecticut. It's just a coincidence that I happen to be a rabbi and it happens to be an old synagogue. It doesn't function as a synagogue in the traditional sense anymore, but it is a sacred space because people come there and they express themselves through the arts and they learn about the arts. And so I consider the arts kind of a form of prayer. And so we're in the south side of Hartford, and our building was built in 1876, so this is the 150th anniversary of the building. So it's a big year. My 25th anniversary, the building's 150th birthday. And in 2021, we also bought the building next door. And that new building was built in 1858. It was the original home of, or it was built to be the home of the mayor of Hartford at the time. And so we bought that building so that we can create a campus and provide an arts education, a free arts education to another 250 kids when that project is completed.
Now you're mentioning a synagogue and people will think about a place of worship. What is the building like? I mean, do you have space for students to go to different classrooms? What would people find when they go there?
That's a great question. It's the original home of Congregation Beth Israel, which is now in the center of West Hartford. They moved in 1936. And in the synagogue building now, we have classrooms, and the sanctuary of the synagogue is our performance space. And it's just gorgeous, but it's frayed around the edges, kind of like me. And that's why it needs to be renovated. So we're undergoing a renovation project now. And we're renovating both buildings, so we have this campus, and so it's filled with classrooms, the performance space, but we use the performance space also for some of our larger classes. For example, we started Connecticut's first, Hartford's first all-city youth orchestra and brass band, and the brass band in particular, their instruments are so large and there's so many kids that we need a really large space. So we use the sanctuary for that class too.
Tell us about your background growing up. Did you know that you wanted to become a rabbi, and how did you find Charter Oak Cultural Center?
They say that in terms of child development, age 9 is a very important year spiritually. And it was when I was 9 that up until that point I wanted to do all kinds. I wanted to be a veterinarian. I wanted to be a speech therapist. And then when I turned 9, I decided I wanted to be a rabbi, and I think it was because there's a certain spirituality that kids of that age have. And I was very involved in our synagogue, and in those days, it was like Moses was alive. It was such a long time ago, but in those days, social justice was at the heart it was the 60s. And so the anti-war movement and civil rights movement were all, very prevalent. And in my synagogue, we really talked about those issues a lot. And for me, being a rabbi meant working for, fighting for, struggling for social justice. So from the time I was a little kid, that was the basis of why I wanted to be a rabbi. And that's why this work at Charter Oak is so important to me, and hopefully a very good fit. I think of it as a very, very good fit. And so I moved to Hartford, must have been 25 years ago. Oh yeah, or 26 years ago. And I'm a New Yorker, you could probably tell from my accent. And I was looking for a job. I had just finished my PhD. And I had gone on all kinds of interviews, and it was August, and a lot of these places where I interviewed weren't going to make a decision until September, but there's a little urgency to my getting a job. And I ran into a woman who said, you should look at the Charter Oak Cultural Center. And really, at the time, it was virtually closed down. They weren't doing anything. And I thought, okay, that's not really, why would I want to go there? And then I went there, it was, the building was in disarray. Had been floods. There was mildew. It was not in good shape, and there was nothing going on there. But somebody thought to offer me the job, at least as the interim executive director, and I took it, and it changed my life. And hopefully, for the better, it changed the life of Charter Oak. So it went from being a mildewed, basically vacant building to being filled with all kinds of arts in our school, and all kinds of performances and exhibits. And it's been quite a journey for both Charter Oak and for me.
How do you secure your funds? Are there donations? Is the state of Connecticut? How is it that you're able to function?
Well, it's not easy being a nonprofit, to say the least. And so, I mean, one of the hardest things about the last 25 years has been, always raising the money. We have amazing donors who are so generous to us, and that has been just such a blessing. And the state of Connecticut has been incredible to us, and the city of Hartford, and foundations and corporations. We've gotten tremendous support. The issue is that prices keep going up, that the need is even greater. We have typically 250 to 300 kids on our waiting list for our school. And so it's basically never enough. There are always more people to serve, and more things to do, and more needs that need to be met. And so in that way, there's a certain sadness.
We're here on the shoreline. You're in Hartford. Are there other, maybe not your name, but are there other cultural centers throughout the state of Connecticut? Are you unique?
I'm not aware of any other multicultural arts centers, so we're really committed to showing the vast array of the traditions of the people who live in Connecticut and in our country. I'm not aware of anybody who does that, and if anybody's listening to this and they say, we do that, I'd love to hear from you, because I'd love to learn from you. But as far as I know, we're unique that way. And one of the other ways that we're unique is that our school, it's called the City School of the Arts, which is run by Susan Mazer, and she's just an incredible person and has such vision. She was the dean at the Hartford Conservatory when it existed for 17 years, and she brought all of her talents over to Charter Oak, and she's been with us for almost 15 years now. But we have it's just such a gorgeous array of classes that we offer, and it's all free. Everything, the instruction, the instruments, the arts materials, everything is free. So it's a tough business model. It's probably a very bad business model because everything is free. So we rely on the kindness of our donors and the corporations and the foundations.
Now, if somebody were to approach you or come in front of the building and say, I want to know what is here, how can I get involved? Is there an age group that you deal with? What would happen when somebody does show up there?
Right now, it's kind of like over the last 25 years, we were laying these mosaics so that we could create a whole picture. Right now, we're serving kids 0 through 18. And in terms of the homeless community, we have 3 programs for the homeless community, and that's people of any age. That population for us skews a little bit older, but anybody's welcome. And that's the whole thing about Charter Oak. It's a home for everybody. Everybody belongs there if they want to be there with us.
So somebody shows up, let's say a 15-year-old with their parents. What are the things that you offer that may be of interest to them? It's music, it's art. Tell us some of the things that go on there.
Yeah, we have all kinds of classes, and one of our classes is with TapeWorks, which is a recording studio in Hartford, and they teach kids recording arts, and sound engineering. So that's for the older kids. But we have hip hop, we have ballet, we have drawing and painting, we have cooking, we have, you name it, and kids can learn any instrument. We have all kinds of music lessons for the kids. And again, all of that is free. All the instruments, everything is free. So it's, and we're very responsive to the needs of our students and their families. So if somebody says, well, we really wish you offered a class in X, we'll do it. We'll find a way to do it. We have a couple of classes that we do in homeless shelters that shelter children with their families. We're both at Charter Oak, and we're at locations throughout the city, bringing the arts to people who otherwise probably would not have exposure to the arts, because art instruction is expensive. Arts classes are cut from schools all the time in deference to science and math, even though we know from the research that the arts really help kids be better students, do better academically and socially and emotionally. And because everybody needs to have their imaginations and their creativity fed and nourished. And that's what we do. For the homeless community, for example, we have 3 programs. We started Connecticut's first street paper, which is a newspaper written by people in the homeless community. We started in 2010. So it's been going on for a really long time. We have a circulation of 5,500. And then we have these pots of organic vegetable plants that we put, and so the newspaper is called Beat of the Street, BOTS, bots. And then we have these pots of organic vegetable plants that we put on the streets of Hartford. Anybody can pick the vegetables if they're in need, and they're organic. And then we hire people in the homeless community to take care of the pots. We train them and they take care of the pots, we pay them. And then we have a school called the Bott Center for Creative Learning for people in the homeless community. And when they take 92 classroom hours, that's 12 courses, they graduate, and they're given the opportunity to go to Goodwin University and pursue a degree, and we give them a laptop as a graduation present from our school.
Okay, Donna, let's hold that thought and take a break. I'm Deborah Gilbert. You tuned into Arts and Entertainment. We are going to take a break. We'll be right back. And welcome back to Arts and Entertainment. I'm Deborah Gilbert, your host, and as always, it's so great to have you, and I do hope you're enjoying the show. Well, Rabbi Donna Berman of the Charter Oak Cultural Center continues to be my guest today. And Donna, you mentioned the homeless, and I think that's a really good thing to highlight right now. How do they find you? Do you find them? How is that population part of the center?
Well, it's interesting, Deborah. The newspaper has on the back of it a list of all kinds of resources for people in the homeless community, and nothing else existed like that before us. And still, we're the only game in town that kind of lists everything that a person in the homeless community would need to do to survive. And through the newspaper and through that listing, they come to us. People come to us, and there's also a police officer who's in charge of taking care of the homeless community, and he often directs people to us. So, but for example, our newspaper, Beat of the Street, is at the methadone clinic across the way from us, and people get the newspaper there. And we've had so many people come to Charter Oak and say, this is too good to be true. How could it be that you have a school and that you're able to go to college afterwards and you get a laptop from Charter Oak? And how is that all possible? And some people come and they're angry. They think it's not for real. And then they realize it is for real, and they start, very often they'll just join us and start on a new path. And the classes in the school are taught by very lovely people in the community who are experts in their field, and they volunteer to teach. In our City School of the Arts for our children, all the teachers are paid and all that. But for the Bott Center for Creative Learning, the school for people in the homeless community, those are all volunteers. And one after another, they will say to us, this has changed my life more than the students' lives. It's such an incredible experience to teach them.
Probably I have viewers right now that are saying that they want to find out more about you online. Your website, charteroakcenter.org. What will the viewer find when they visit it?
They will find all kinds of upcoming events, a history of the building, some information about all of our staff members and our board members. So they get a good view of what we're doing. But an interesting thing too to do is to sign up for our newsletter, because you'll get all kinds of information about upcoming events. But we have a lot of things in there that are thought-provoking and interesting to kind of spur conversation. Because the whole thing about Charter Oak is bringing people together to learn about each other, to learn about their cultures, to plant the seeds of peace and understanding between people. So there's all kinds of stuff. I'm very proud of the fact that we've kind of taken our e-blast and made it into more than just a vehicle to announce what's coming up at Charter Oak, but to really start to engender this kind of deep discourse that we need to have with each other.
Do you or your team have a plan? A 1-year plan, a 3-year plan, a 5-year plan as to where you want the center to go from here?
Yeah, that's such a great question. I've been thinking about it because I'm thinking about my remarks. Our gala is coming up on May 4th. And, we still have some tickets available if people want to come and support our work. But I was thinking about something that I want to say in my remarks that night about laying the pipe for the future. I love that image. I read it somewhere. I didn't make it up. But just laying the pipes that you know where you're going. And a lot of it has to do with our buildings. We want to complete our building project and have 250 more students join us, which would be just an amazing thing, and this building project will allow that to happen. And we want to build our school, and probably right now we're renting space from Good Shepherd Church down the road, and we're probably going to have to continue to do that because I think we're going to outgrow the new space almost immediately, because again the demand is so great and only growing. So we really want to grow our school. In 2022 we started the Ada Maria Isazi Diaz Justice Institute to showcase the work of Latinx women scholars and activists and artists, and we want to grow that. And I'd like to hire actually somebody to lead that, a Latinx woman to do that. And there are some programs we want to grow, and there are some new things that we want to do. And over these years, we've kind of thought of these ideas. And one thing that I'm very proud about is we don't just put them in a drawer. Many of them we have brought to fruition, and I want to continue to do that. Many of these ideas that we've had for years, I think these are going to be the years to actualize them.
People will hear Charter Oak Cultural Center, Hartford, Connecticut. Are you open to other young people? You're saying 0 to 18, to other children, students throughout the state of Connecticut, or is it strictly Hartford?
It's mostly Hartford, but we don't want to be so inflexible that a child in need who couldn't otherwise get access to the arts, we would never turn them away. So if somebody came to us and they were in need, we would make every effort to include them. I mean, the issue is that we only have X amount of space. But we want to grow it so that, every child who wants to have experience in the arts, but otherwise couldn't afford it, can have that opportunity. So we never want to turn anybody away, but we need to grow more in terms of space.
It sounds that way. Tell us what it's like. You're saying that you're also in the school system. What is that like?
Well, we're in the school system, and we're at the Village, for example, for children and families. So we're at other locations too, wherever there are kids in need. But we'll go into the schools, and we'll be there during the day offering all kinds of classes. And then in the evenings, we're at Charter Oak, and then different kids come. So that's why altogether it's 1,000. It's not 1,000 kids at Charter Oak, but throughout the city. So, during the day, and then when we're at other locations during the evening, afternoon and evening at Charter Oak, and then on the weekends, and we all run all summer long too.
Tell us again about the homeless program and going to college. I think that's just wonderful. We should highlight that some more.
Yeah, so we've had now 65 people graduate from our school, and about 40 people have either gone on to Goodwin to take classes or have matriculated and graduated. And we had one student last year, for example, who went and got her associate's degree at Goodwin, and she went on and got her bachelor's. That was last year, and now she's working on her master's at the University of Hartford. And she's a woman in her mid-50s. These are not kids. We had another woman who had a really, really terrible time as a child, and has 3 children herself, and she's a young woman. And she got a certificate in welding from Goodwin. So there are all kinds of tracks at Goodwin, all kinds of things that people can do, all kinds of fields that they can study, and about 40 of our students have taken advantage of that opportunity.
Well, I want to. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, it's just so gratifying. It just proves, Deborah, that like a plant, if a plant has good soil, it will grow well. If it doesn't, it often doesn't grow so well. And it's the same thing with people. Everybody needs fertile soil, really good soil. And that's what we're trying to do, which we believe that every human being deserves that opportunity to have great soil, to be the best they can be.
Well, I want to say congratulations. You're in your 25th year, which is a huge milestone. When you started up until now, do you feel satisfied that you've been able to accomplish what you set out to do?
I feel so blessed to have been able to do this for 25 years. I feel so grateful to our donors and supporters and to the people we serve. And I feel like there's a lot more work to do, and I look forward to doing it.
Okay, we are slowly starting to run out of time. Any closing thoughts for the viewer?
Well, it's just a pleasure to be here, and I love your show. I think it's great. I think you're great. And, if anybody feels like they want to find out more about Charter Oak, they might want to get involved in whatever way, we would so welcome that. There's so much work, and we need many hands and many hearts, and it would be a pleasure.
Well, I want to thank you, Donna, for coming again. We really appreciate it. It's been so wonderful having you.
It's great to be here and to see you again, Deborah. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
It's my pleasure. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for being here today. I'm Deborah Gilbert. You've been tuned into Arts and Entertainment. In case you need to reach me, I have a new email for you. It's dgilbert777@hotmail.com. Well, I hope you have a super day today. I really hope you've enjoyed the show. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you next time.